This is Dave from DIY Domination. Have you ever wondered how the best farmers maintain soil health and fertility? Well, it's all about rotation. Yes, we're talking about crop rotation, a cornerstone of sustainable agriculture. It's not just about changing the scenery for the farmer, it's a strategic move with a myriad of benefits. From breaking pest and disease cycles to preventing nutrient depletion and enhancing soil structure, crop rotation is a real game changer. In today's video, we're going to walk you through a step-by-step guide on how to rotate crops for optimal soil health. We'll discuss understanding your soil and climate, planning your crop rotation, and diversifying your crop types. We'll also touch on implementing a rotation schedule, using cover crops, and practicing green manure. And of course, we'll talk about avoiding monoculture and the importance of monitoring and adjusting your plan. So are you ready to dig in? Stay tuned as we delve into the step-by-step guide to crop rotation for soil health. By the way, if you like this video and want to see more videos with advice on sustainable farming and gardening, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we'll do our best to reply to your comment. Firstly, understanding your soil and climate is crucial. Why, you might ask? Well, every plot of land is unique, possessing its own blend of soil type, fertility, and drainage. These factors play a significant role in determining what crops will thrive best. For instance, sandy soils are well drained but often low in nutrients, while clay soils can be nutrient-rich but may have drainage issues. And let's not forget about climate. Local temperature patterns, rainfall, and sunlight hours can drastically impact the growth of your crops. Some crops love the heat, while others prefer cooler climates. Some need a lot of water, others not so much. And the amount of sunlight your crops get can make a big difference in their development. So, before you start rotating your crops, take time to assess your soil and understand your local climate. Once you have a good grasp of your soil and climate, you can move on to planning your crop rotation. Next, it's time to plan your crop rotation. Now think of your crops as friends who like to hang out with certain groups. Each group, like brassicas, legumes, and nightshades, have their own nutrient needs. By grouping crops based on these needs and their families, you can ensure that they get exactly what they need from the soil without depleting it. But remember, even best friends need a break from each other. That's where crop rotation comes into play. Plan your rotations over multiple seasons. This way, you avoid planting the same crop in the same location too frequently, which can lead to nutrient depletion and pest problems. Make sure to include a variety of crops in your plan. This not only keeps the soil healthy, but also breaks up any pest or disease cycles. With a plan in place, it's time to diversify your crop types. Diversifying your crop types is a vital step in crop rotation. This approach not only adds variety to your harvest, but also plays a significant role in maintaining soil health. By growing a diverse range of crops, you can break the cycle of specific pests and diseases that may otherwise thrive in a monoculture. Let's talk about cover crops for a moment. These are the unsung heroes of crop rotation. They are not grown for sale or consumption, but rather to improve the soil. Cover crops, like clover or alfalfa, add organic matter and nutrients back into the soil, enhancing its fertility for the next round of main crops. They also protect the soil from erosion and suppress weed growth, making them a fantastic addition to any crop rotation plan. So don't hesitate to include a variety of crops in your rotation, and don't forget the valuable role of cover crops. Once you've diversified your crops, you can establish a rotation schedule. Now let's discuss how to implement a rotation schedule. It's essential to establish a rotation scheme that spans several years, usually a 3 to 4 year cycle. This extended timeline allows your soil ample time to recover and replenish its nutrients. Your rotation schedule will heavily rely on the grouping of your crops. Crops are typically grouped based on their nutrient needs and families, like brassicas, legumes, and nightshades. When rotating, consider each crop's nutrient requirements, growth habits, and susceptibility to pests and diseases. For instance, heavy feeders that deplete soil nutrients quickly should be followed by light feeders or soil-enriching crops. Remember, the rotation isn't just about the order you plant in. It's also about timing. Ensure that you're not planting the same crop in the same location too frequently. A well-planned rotation can help break pest cycles and prevent nutrient depletion. With a rotation schedule in place, you can start to incorporate cover crops. Cover crops play a significant role in crop rotation. They're the unsung heroes of sustainable agriculture, stepping in when your main cash crop is off duty and working wonders for your soil. Cover crops like legumes, rye, and clover can infuse your soil with valuable nutrients. Legumes, for example, have a fantastic knack for fixing nitrogen in the soil. But the benefits of cover crops don't stop at nutrients. Some, such as oats and rye, can prevent soil erosion and improve soil structure, making it easier for subsequent crops to take root. The key is to plant these cover crops during periods when your main cash crop isn't growing. This way, they can work their magic on the soil, preparing it for the next crop in line. Remember, a healthy soil means a fruitful harvest. Now that you know how to use cover crops, let's talk about the practice of green manure. Green manure is another effective method to maintain soil health. Now you may wonder what this green manure is all about. Well, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Green manure is simply the practice of growing cover crops to maturity and then incorporating them into the soil before planting the main cash crop. This process is a win-win for both the soil and the farmer. As the cover crops decompose, they release valuable nutrients into the soil, enhancing its fertility. But that's not all. They also add organic matter to the soil, which improves its structure. This means the soil can hold more water and nutrients and has better aeration, all of which are essential for healthy plant growth. Just imagine your soil being nourished naturally without relying heavily on synthetic fertilizers. Sounds fantastic, right? That's the power of green manure. Green manure is a great practice, but it's also important to avoid monoculture. Avoiding monoculture is key in crop rotation. When we talk about monoculture, we mean planting the same crop in the same field year after year. This practice might seem efficient on the surface, but it can have serious drawbacks. For one, it can lead to a buildup of pests and diseases that are specific to that crop, increasing the need for chemical interventions. Secondly, it can result in the depletion of specific nutrients from the soil, as each crop type absorbs different nutrients. Now, this is where crop rotation comes into play. By alternating between different crops, we can disrupt the life cycles of pests and diseases, reducing their impact. Simultaneously, different crops replenish different nutrients, preventing soil depletion and promoting fertility. It's like giving the soil a well-rounded diet, keeping it healthy and productive. So, in essence, crop rotation is an antidote to the problems of monoculture. As you avoid monoculture and practice crop rotation, remember to monitor and adjust. Monitoring and adjusting your crop rotation plan is a crucial step. It's not enough just to plan and execute. You've got to keep a keen eye on the whole process. One of the best ways to do this is by keeping detailed records. Jot down what crops you've grown in each field and the success of each rotation. Now, you also want to keep a close watch on your soil health indicators. These can be things like nutrient levels, pH, and microbial activity. These indicators will tell you a lot about how your soil is faring and whether or not your crop rotation plan is working. But let's not forget, sometimes adjustments will be necessary. Based on your observations and the results you're seeing, you may need to tweak your crop rotation plan. And that's perfectly all right. In fact, it's a sign that you're actively managing your soil's health. So that's the basic guide to crop rotation for soil health. But remember, it's a dynamic process that requires regular observation and adaptation. Crop rotation is a key practice in sustainable agriculture. To recap, it all begins with understanding your soil and climate, then planning a rotation that best suits your environment. Remember to diversify your crops to break pest and disease cycles, and to incorporate cover crops and green manure to enrich your soil. Avoid monoculture as it can lead to nutrient depletion and pest buildup. Implementing a solid rotation schedule, monitoring your soil's health, and making necessary adjustments are all part of the process. Don't forget the benefits of intercropping and, if applicable, integrating livestock into your rotation plan. And of course, alternating between cash and cover crops can help maintain your soil's health and productivity. Seek expert advice and tailor your plan to your specific conditions. Crop rotation is a dynamic process that requires observation and adaptation. Thanks for joining us today to learn about crop rotation for soil health. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep growing. If you like this video, then make sure to also watch these videos for more DIY sustainable farming and gardening advice.